Hi, I'm Connie, and welcome to my channel, Cooking with Connie and More. Today, we're going to cook something. We're going to make a Southern chess pie. Now, I'm a Southern girl. We like pies in the South, but I'm not making this for me. I'm making it to take to an event, and I don't have a lot of time, so I wanted to find a recipe that's pretty simple and quick. So you want to have a prepared pie crust, and I already have my prepared pie crust. I like to use one of those rolled refrigerator crust that you roll out and then put in the pan, and that's just my favorite. I used to make my own pie crust, but I really don't do that anymore because when you can get a good one that's already made for you, why not, right? So the first thing that we're supposed to do is heat butter in a small saucepan, which I have done, and add in 1.5 cups of sugar. So I'm going to add that in and stir that until it's thoroughly mixed. And there we go. So that's my sugar and 1 stick of melted butter. 1 stick is the equivalent of 1/2 cup of butter. And most butter wrappings will show you that on the wrapping. Then we're supposed to, and we're going to let that, it says cool slightly, beat eggs in a large bowl until frothy. I have here 3 eggs that I'm going to beat in a large mixing bowl until frothy. Now frothy means they're well mixed. Sorry for that loud noise. So I'm going to beat that on a pretty high speed until frothy. Now frothy means that we've incorporated quite a bit of air into it. That means that our pie is going to be a little bit fluffy and it will have a nice texture. You don't want to just dump eggs in to this particular pie. You want to beat them until they've got some air incorporated. And while that's happening, our butter and sugar mixture is here, cooling a little bit, and I'm going to read for you some more of this recipe. This is actually out of the recipe book that I made myself for my family several years ago, and a collection of recipes, family recipes. So, heat butter and sugar in a small saucepan until butter is melted, cool slightly. Beat eggs in a large bowl until frothy. Then we're going to add a tablespoon of vinegar and a teaspoon of vanilla. And then we will add the sugar and butter mixture into that. See, it's just these few ingredients. And as my mother taught me, I'm going to add a dash of salt. The recipe doesn't call for salt, but it is a sweet. And Mama said, whenever you're making a dessert something sweet, add a dash of salt. It's a flavor enhancer. It will enhance the flavor. So we're going to do that too. So let's check our eggs here. They're beginning to get kind of frothy. It does take 3 or 4 minutes. I have not timed this. I'm just going on site here. Like I said, it's incorporating air into the eggs. Now, when you're making a meringue or something, you just use the egg whites and you make them into fluffy like a cloud. That's not what this is. This is frothy. I believe they're ready. So my eggs are nice and frothy. Let's give that another minute. After I turned it off, it settled down a little more than I wanted it to. Meanwhile, I have my vanilla ready. I always use vanilla extract. I don't like to use imitation vanilla, but you can if you want to. I think the flavor is a little bit better if you use extract, the real thing. And then I have white vinegar. that we will put into this as well. And I don't want to forget my dash of salt. Matter of fact, I think I'll go ahead and do that in my butter sugar mixture and let that be working its way in. Now, we're going to add in the vanilla and the sugar, the vanilla and the vinegar, and then the sugar and butter mixture. I want to take that out. We have frothy eggs over here. I'm going to add in a teaspoon of vanilla and a tablespoon of white vinegar. There's my vanilla. And here's my white vinegar. A teaspoon. Now, I'm going to go ahead and blend that in, and then we're going to add in the sugar and butter mixture here. That has cooled plenty. You don't want to add it in while it's hot because it'll start cooking the egg before you get it mixed in, and then you'll have little clumps of cooked eggs. It won't hurt you, but it will take away from the texture that you're looking for and the quality of the product that we're looking for. So I'm just going to blend that real well. I have my pie crust here all ready. I just used a fork. I pressed it down with a fork all the way around my 8-inch pie plate. Because I'm taking this to a bit, I'm not going to make it in a glass pie plate, which is my favorite actually for making pies. But I don't want to have to bring a dirty dish home or leave a dirty dish for someone else to have to fool with. Let me see here. Oh, that's well mixed. I'm going to scrape this off a little bit. I think I'll set this bowl under here to catch these drips that want to fall. So there we have our pie mixture for our Southern chess pie. This is an old-fashioned pie. And I should have turned that around toward the camera, shouldn't I? Sorry about that. I'm learning. So, we're going to put that into the preheated oven. It says bake on lower rack of the oven at 375 for about 45 minutes or until the center is almost set, but still soft. So I'm going to put this in the oven. It's preheated to 375 degrees. And so we'll let that bake. And after about 30 minutes or so, I'll check that. And if the crust around the edge is beginning to really brown, I will put my pie protector. It's a pie crust shield on that to help keeping that outer edge of the pie crust from over browning. So we'll see how that goes. So we're going to let that bake a while, and then I'll be back to you and see what we get out of the oven here in a little while. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be back. Well, our Southern chess pie is out of the oven, and I did put the pie crust shield on it even a little bit earlier than I had expected. So now we have here our Southern chess pie. Needs to cool before we eat it. Now you might think, well, that looks crusty. Yes, it develops a nice thin, kind of a sugary crust on top, which is part of the characteristic of this kind of pie, and it gives it a real nice homemade texture. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today, making a Southern chess pie. It's a recipe that I acquired back in the 70s, because in my little cookbook that I created for my family, I do date these older recipes, and it was an old recipe when I acquired it in the 70s. So it is, and it's an Appalachian favorite as well. So there you go, the Southern chess pie, and that'll be good with a little bit of whipped cream on it, or just plain. I like it just plain, actually. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will put the recipe for this pie in the description below, and I'd love it if you would like this video. Even subscribe if you think you'd like to see more in the future. Thank you. God bless.